Oh, can you hear me?
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we are live now. So sorry about that. Sorry about that. And but we're here now, right here, right now. I'm Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethic Media Association. I am also the host of the only online broadcast in the world for dads and fathers. And that's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dove. It's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And through that collaboration, I've been able to reach out directly or indirectly to over 100,000 fathers this year. So I'm happy about that and happy to be in the presence of media star Ryan Knight.
Yes, media star in training.
You love putting that little
My,
title in, eh? You love
what?
that.
I can't accept that.
Why not?
I gotta work up to that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You work up.
And again, for those that don't know me, because the star is still being groomed, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. Also, so when we work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage to figure out what stage they're in today and help them create a blueprint to exponentially grow their companies. I myself is an entrepreneur running Detailing Nights, a mobile waterless car cleaning company, going to people's houses and their offices, cleaning their cars on the spot without using water and using our plant-based cleaning supplies. I actually want to give a quick shout out to Liquid Green Solutions, who is one of the companies that we use that make plant-based all-purpose cleaner, carpet cleaner. They actually make vegetable cleaners and a whole bunch of eco-friendly stuff. So shout out to Fred and Janet Cox. And yeah.
How did you meet them?
Where did we meet? That's a good question. I don't remember. But we've gone to so many different events and crossed paths. But I'm curious where we first. I have to ask Fred where we first met. But we became they became a vendor for Detailing Nights. That must have been at least 6-7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's been going on this week? We're going to chop it up Friday here because we've had so many guests on recently. We thought we'd do a chop it up Friday. So what's been going on with you? Any wins or things you want to share this over the last few days?
I'm starting to feel really excited about what I'm seeing in the Black community. And again, maybe I'm just in a certain pocket, but I'm seeing a lot of discussions around, like, not just discussions though, but actual collaborations happening. So just to give an example, the BBPA is running their BAIDS program. And so they're doing these weekly check-ins with their service providers. And I don't think they had to do this, but I feel like it's really getting a lot of Black service providers, whether it's marketing, accounting, legal, business planning, grant writing. Now we're all meeting weekly and getting to know who exists and who does what. So I feel like, yes, the program is one thing, but again, I always say the diamond is in the collaboration, like who exists in our community that can execute certain things. And these weekly meetings are actually giving us a chance to talk to each other and just learn about each other. So I'm finding them very valuable. And we've been also meeting about the ecosystem. So for those that don't know, the federal government here in Canada created a Black entrepreneurship program that had 3 different tiers: the loan program, the ecosystem fund, and the knowledge hub, which I'm I'm thinking the Knowledge Hub is supposed to be launched soon. We shall see when it actually gets announced. But the most people know about the loan fund, which is being run by the Face Coalition, and they're loaning out uh, loans up to 250,000 and microloans, I think, up to 25,000. But the ecosystem fund is where the Afro Caribbean Business Network, we're one of the organizations that got funded. So there's 30 organizations that got funded there, and we are also meeting on Thursdays to talk about just how do we collaborate, how do we work towards a conference happening later in June, June 2022. But again, the program is one thing, but us being able to talk, learn about what everybody's doing across Canada, I'm seeing so much value in just those conversations. That's why I'm really excited about, yeah, just what I'm seeing. I guess maybe it's just in the Black business community. I'm not sure like how people are feeling in other pillars of the community, like education, justice. I know I've seen a lot of conversations around gun violence, so I'm curious to see how people feel with the progress that's being made in those areas too.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm getting some echoing on your end.
Oh, that's weird. Actually, I can turn down. Am I in twice? No.
Okay. I'm still getting it.
Yeah, maybe if I mute.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe your speakers are turned up really loud on your laptop. That's probably what's happening. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to see finally. Well, it looks like there's some collab. People are talking with each other. At least you're getting in the same digital room and speaking with each other, which is a lot of progress. And we'll see what happens. And our one of our number ones, Christopher Lawrence, he got it right. So, people, if you don't know or if you do know, on every live broadcast of the Morning Vibe till the end of the year, we're giving away $25 gift cards from Amazon. All you need to do is, if you're watching this live, is type in hashtag the Morning Vibe in the comments section of whatever platform you're watching this on and press enter. So there, Christopher has led the example, the Morning Vibe. So we are giving away gift cards all throughout the rest of this month. So that is good stuff. Yeah, Ryan, it's good to hear that people are talking and chatting together. And at least you're in the same room. And I've been a firm believer for many rooms that that's what you need to. You need to get in the same room, whether it's digital or face to face, and find out what you all doing. And I'm sitting back watching in the audience, and I'm glad to see that there's some progress happening there in that regards. Anything else? I was in a conversation yesterday with a business associate, and I won't mention the person's name, but there's a gentleman who watches this Morning Vibe regularly that has taken advantage of some of the service offerings that this service provider is. Actually, he hasn't been on this platform. He's been on another one of my platforms and one of your platforms also. And we were talking, and this one of the regulars, their name came up. I go, oh, that's fantastic, good stuff. So that was a good win this week. You can try and take yourself off of mute and see if we're echoing. Okay, yeah, it's gone now.
Excellent. Well, and that's where I'm a lot more positive, not testimonials, but like things getting done. I'm seeing, yes, hey, I was one of the ones, hey, I'll call out FACE, I'll call out BBPA. When they launched their programs, the processes at the beginning were very flawed. And so, but this is where I think I differentiate from a lot of other people that I talk to that are very frustrated at the beginning. We can't give up on our people just because at the beginning, yes, maybe you didn't get your emails answered or you didn't get a phone call in the time that you needed it, but these programs still exist. So we have to give the feedback so that they can improve. And then now that we're seeing the improvement, go get the service. Like the BAIDS program, I feel is probably one of the best grants that are available for-profit entrepreneurs that exist right now. So put your pride aside for a sec. And yes, you may have been frustrated at the beginning, but go get what you need for your business. because now, let's say if you need that marketing strategy, if you want help with getting additional grants or doing your business plan or getting that loan application to get more money, this is the program. There's no other program like it where you can get an organization to pay the bill for a service provider to get what you need done in your business. So let's take advantage of it. And again, I always say keep the pressure on. Like, don't get frustrated and then let these people off the hook. Like, listen, they are designed and they have said that they are going to help your business. Let's put that to the test. And every step of the way, if you're not being serviced properly, let them know and let them get better until you get what you need for your business.
I hear what you're saying. I think from where I sit, and I guess the question would also be, have these organizations of how, I guess I'll include you since it seems that you've converted over now to their side, that have you, do you feel you've done the best marketing efforts to inform
uh,
the Black Canadian public? And yeah, business is one end. Are you, since you're part of their side now, are you reaching out to other areas like talking about gun violence, these sort of things, food disparity?
right. That's huge right now. Well, and that's where, because there's no overarching plan, and I'm going to come back to the Black Empowerment Manifesto in a second, but the different areas of the Black community right now are so siloed. And then within the silo, there's additional silos. So if you talk about gun violence, there's at least four organizations that I know that are dealing with gun violence. Are they creating a cohesive unit to now go after this as a collective and with one message and advocating to whoever needs to hear it to get things done? I don't know, because I'm not, again, it's like I feel like I'm in the economic silo, and then there's like the gun violence silo and the education silo and the children's aid services or social silos. So when you ask, are, now that the economic side is starting to catch their footing, is that now supporting the other areas of the Black community? I would say no. Not, even if it is, it's not effective. It's not optimal. It can definitely be better. But that's where a person that, let's say, is struggling with their business and needs support, they're not ready yet to support other areas of the community. They
No,
have to get their footing.
I'm not saying the business people. I'm saying you organizations.
Yeah, well, that's where it's not in their mandate. If we don't have, because we don't have an overarching plan that interconnects all of the different pillars. And so an organization in economics that gets funding has, it's not in any of their strategic planning to use some of that funding or resources to support over here in education or in gun violence. So I would
Okay.
say there is no connection yet.
I think whether it's part of the mandate or not, I think it'd be right to reach out to those organizations.
Well, 100%. But that's so this is where I want to get back to the manifesto, because if it's not done from a person just understanding that it should be done, you need to design it in. And that's where the design of how you run your organization weeds out a person not realizing that they should be reaching out across to other organizations that are doing completely different things, but knowing that, let's say, ACBN can use our leverage and resources to support a zero gun violence or a one by one movement. These are things that, because let's say it's not in our bylaws, it doesn't come up at board meetings. So it relies on the executive director to understand, oh, I need to reach out to these people, even though my board isn't mandating it or my members aren't mandating it. It should happen. So this is what's happening at all organizations. Nobody is mandating anybody to do that. We have to figure it out for ourselves to say, okay, there's support that we can give, but it's not happening. So what do we do to make it happen? And this is where I feel like talking about it and being able to interview the different people from different areas of the Black community opens up how we can cross the lines and talk to each other. But right now, it's not built in. So that's where having something like the Black Empowerment Manifesto shows how everything interconnects. And then it shows you can't have economic empowerment without social stability or family stability or a proper education system. Because who are these people that are going to become the entrepreneurs that hire in the community? If they have bad education, they don't have the tools needed to be able to create these businesses that can now sustain the community. Everything connects. If we're all sick, nobody is healthy enough to be running these businesses. That it is just a vicious circle, and that's why it's so disheartening that everybody is still in silos. We have to figure out.
You and I are always going to go back and forth in this because you use the C word, but then you also use all these silos. So I'm just listening to saying, okay,
Yes.
you say the C word, but you're saying we're all in silos. So I'm just going, okay, all
but
right.
Hey, silos within the community. That's where we have to break. Hey, we're still building the community, right? I didn't say the community is perfect or on point.
I didn't either.
We have to look at it and say, okay, what is missing and what can be better to optimize how our community is working. Right now, I don't even think anybody's really looking at it to say we can critique it, but who is sitting down the leaders of these organizations to say, what can we do together? I've been to a lot of these conferences, and there's conference about gun violence, there's conference about education, there's a conference about economic development, there's a conference about anti-Black racism. We should be done with conferences.
Where's the action conference?
But that's what I'm saying. Like at the conference, nobody is doing tangible, actionable things. We're all talking about it to say, hey, these are the things that we should be doing. And yes, we're going to take action and it's time to move forward. So stop right there, take out a piece of paper, everybody in the room, let's write down what we're going to do next. Like not tomorrow, like today. Because if that communication isn't even there, maybe an Excel spreadsheet with everybody's contact information and a little note that says what they do in the community, then we can start mixing and matching and saying like, hey, you 4 organizations do the exact same thing. How do we bring you together? And then these 3 that do the same thing, how do you bring them together and then start to work together? This is what can be done over a day. Instead, we get a whole day of sitting there listening to people tell us that rain is still wet. It's like, yes, we know the issues in the Black community. Show me what we can do today to start working towards fixing it.
Yeah, be solutions oriented. We all know what the challenges are. Before we go any further, just want to shout out some people who joined us this morning. Tim Frey, good morning. The McMillan Group, Ray, thanks for taking some time by. And also, again, if you want a $25 Amazon gift card, please type in hashtag the morning vibe in the comments section of whatever platform that you are watching, and you'll enter our giveaway. And hey, it may not be for yourself. Maybe you want to give it to someone as a Christmas gift. So, so different things you can do with this. So we do with that gift card. So again, I just want to push that again. There's some comments. Oh, good question from Ray here saying, but why should we be mandated? Disparities are live and in color for all of us with any level of consciousness to observe. So the responsibility lies on each of us to play a role. Absolutely. Don't disagree.
So this is why I would push back and say that we should be mandated.
Ray, check it out. May have to bring Ray on next week now.
Let's use a snapshot. Over the last 50 years, we have not been mandated. What has been the progress? What has changed? If you look at the triggering moment 50 years ago that sparked anti-Black racism sentiment, and we have to create anti-Black racism secretariats and all these different entities to battle anti-Black racism. Fast forward 50 years later, what are we seeing in the news? Black North Initiative, launches anti-Black racism policy or playbook for organizations to eliminate anti-Black racism. So because in our own community, it's not mandated to work on our own problems, we are relying on either the government or different organizations to now pop up exactly like what happened 50 years ago. And along the way, organizations pop up to deal with this overarching issue of anti-Black racism. When, like Dr. Vibe was saying, if we as individual organizations each put it in our mandate, put it in something designed into the framework of what it means to run an organization, now we can start looking at solving our own problems. But because it's not mandated and it hasn't been mandated before, it's not getting done. Like,
hold on a second. So who should be doing the mandating? If you feel that, who should be doing the mandating?
Well, this is where in the manifesto it talks about creating a think tank. So we need to bring together the smartest people in our community to start sitting down on a regular basis and coming up with how do we operate as a Black community. Right now, there's nobody. Like, if you're saying who should do the mandating, there's no one person. This is what I'm talking about.
But there should not be one person.
But that's what I'm saying. But this is the collective conversations that we should be having instead of conferences to talk about what's wrong in our community. We should, if we're all in the same room, how about we come up with what does that mandate look like? What does it mean if somebody is in the room that is tackling gun violence and somebody's in the room doing economics?
And just you're saying the smartest people. I don't necessarily want the smartest people. I want the most relevant people, because there's some smart people that I don't want to be in company of.
No, but you still want the genius. Listen, this is where people dismiss people in the community because we can't get along, or they're eccentric, or they did something.
No,
but you can't eliminate people. If
no,
a
I'm
person
not saying. I'm not.
You
saying
just said, "Oh, you don't want them in the room."
I'm not saying necessarily I want the smart people. I want the most relevant people. There may be people that have a lot of knowledge. It may not be like there are professors that can tell you about, like politicians can tell you about gun violence, this gun violence, that. They've never walked in a gun violence, so they really don't know the story.
Where I didn't put no label on what is smart. I said we need smart people in the room.
What's the definition of what does that person look like? What is that? So when you say smart, what do you mean?
So this is where I'm not using the term smart as like an academic term. It's people that have what we need to execute a solution. Okay, so if a person
I don't like that term smart. So that's a better definition.
We have to be able to define it without using 10 words. So if a person's in a room, like, this is where there's no criteria to smart. It's like we are all in the room working towards the same goal, and everybody has expertise in different things. So if a person comes into the room and they have no expertise in anything and not giving any value to the conversation, they don't need to be in the room.
Yeah, like, I can live better with expertise rather than smart.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And so this is where people with the right expertise need to be in a room talking about how do we operate as a Black community. Right now, that conversation is not happening. So to raise a point, it shouldn't have to be mandated, but with it not being mandated, we have seen very little progress.
Oh, so why do I feel I'm going to be hearing from Ray McMillan on that answer? So I'm looking for. I got him on speed dial now.
Listen, so he's in the room. Let him respond.
So another question here. Tim is saying, is there a summit for Black ecosystem as a whole? If not, should there be one?
I 100% believe there should be one. I feel the ecosystem conference that's happening in June could be it. And this is why we invited all 30 organizations to be part of the steering committee, so we can all design together what does this gathering of Black-focused business support organizations, what is it that we should be doing when we're together? It shouldn't just be the traditional conference of politicians coming and saying, "Oh, we are so happy to help the Black community," and PhD academics saying like, "Yes, I remember the days when we started our research and we found that Black racism or racism exists." Like, skip all that. What tangible things can we commit to in these types of summits that like Tim is talking about? We need to change what we're doing. I don't know if people in our community have realized what we have been doing over the past 50 years. We're right back in the same position. You can look at headlines from 20, 30 years ago that talk about gun violence happening or racism happening, and then they create these like band-aid solutions, and we're right 2021, same headlines are happening. So no, why isn't anybody looking at that and saying like, why are we still trying to do the same thing as before? We need to shift what we're doing. And again, like you said, a think tank with people in the room with the right expertise could then create what that mandate could look like. So anybody that is thinking of starting an organization in our community has some foundational criteria. Like right now, anybody can just create an organization and not think at all about any of the other areas in the Black community and how it connects. So that's why we have all these silos.
So Junior Witter in the comments section here has put up African Canadian senators form a new group to advocate Black parties in the Senate. That's nice.
Right?
And I don't want to like put down what you say. You know, that's great, but I think we have to take care of our own destiny, and we have to take care of ourselves. We as people who look like us, we can't let people who don't look like us define us.
And this is where we always have to ask the question, what problem are we solving? When the senators create a group advocating for Black issues, is it actually going to make progress and alleviate Black issues? Or does it look good for the senators to be part of this group?
One of my three.
Is it exactly? So this is where now, in my opinion, there's 5 specific pillars in the community, and there should be a priority in each. So if we go to economics, education, justice, social, and health. So in these 5 pillars,
what about media?
Media, that's like the way to get the word out. So
hold on, stop right there. I'm not just saying it because I do.
Media is not a pillar of the community. Like that's part of economics. Like we can't have 20 pillars. So
I wasn't putting.
You're in the economic pillar.
I actually would. I'd even nail it down to 3: education, buy from our own businesses and start our own businesses, and social justice. That's it.
What? Where's health?
Social justice.
Nah, social justice, because gun violence and health. Those are two.
But see, and I did that on purpose just to put it out there. That what do you leave in? What do you not? You know, and we can't let it, like the way people are defined these days, like it or not, is in the media. So we've got to control our own narrative.
But that's what I'm saying. So media is part of how you get the word out about everything. So hold on, let me finish the thought, and then we can play around and add stuff to it.
Just before you go any further, thanks for some more people putting in the morning vibe. And one of our 2-time winner has put her entry in. So she means business. Charmaine means
deck
business.
Is stacked now.
She's not pushing away. So people, get your entry in. Because I don't think Charmaine's going to give away if she wins again today. But keep on going.
So when I was talking about the 5 pillars, and again, I was saying in my opinion. So this is totally open to debate. So we have economics, health, education, justice, and social. So within these 5 pillars, economics priority should be our own financial institution. With health, priority should be our own hospital. Education, priority should be our own learning institutions. So that could be our own school board or just own schools in period.
No, our schools, not one school, schools.
So we're talking about, a school board. justice, our own first response units. So that would be like our own police force. And then social, our own, similar to CAS. So again, first response about any social issues, similar to CAS. So if we're not working on any of those five priorities, that's where I feel like it's a waste of time. If these senators came together and created a group, then let us know which of these five things are you going to help us build. If you're not helping us build anything, then it just looks like you're doing stuff just to look good. Same with the Black Caucus. What are you building that's going to help us solve our problems? And it needs to be infrastructure and permanent. If you're not helping us build those things, so far, look at the Black Caucus has helped us create a loan program. That is not fundamentally going to shift the progress and empowerment of Black people. So it's more solving your problem. It's making you look good. And I wrote a whole article about the propaganda of making announcements that serve the purpose of the party rather than the actual purpose of the community. So this is where I use that litmus test. If what you are building isn't going to build any of these infrastructure things, I feel like you're wasting my time. And so I'm in the economic realm. My focus or priority is getting that financial institution in place. The Pan-African Credit Union is being worked on. Others are talking about a banking system. That, to me, if the government can get behind and leverage us putting together our financial institution, I think that'll have a better ripple effect that supports the other pillars.
So people who are watching live, welcome to Fraser Ramsey, all the way from Scotland, watching this morning.
What time is it in Scotland?
Long time gentleman I've known through the digital platform. I've known for a few years, so great. And he has actually put in hashtag the morning vibe. So if someone watching from Scotland can put in hashtag the morning vibe, which is at least 5 hours ahead of us, why don't you want to win? So what do people think about Ryan's declaration? You know, I'm having some entertainment from it. Here's Junior Witter saying, fully agree. That's exactly what my reaction was. It's still something we should pay attention to on what they're trying to do. The government has a tendency to solve one problem, create two more. So he's responding to the senators forming their own, I guess, Black Senate caucus, so to speak.
And so this is where what Junior's talking about is so important, because this thing will happen and then the community will just leave them to their own devices and they'll come up with something and then create a report and say, oh, this is what the Black Senator Caucus found. Okay, but now that we've heard that it exists, and that's where I'm get back to that think tank, we should have a meeting with them to say, these are the things that we as a community are working on. And so I would go back to, let's say, those five pillars and say, what is it that this senators group can help us build that will actually empower our people? And if they say, oh, we can't help with any of those things, then they're a complete waste of time. If they can say, oh, you know what, that school board priority that you have to build something parallel to what exists now so our children have options and are not stuck in just one system, we can help you with that. Now we have focus. Now we can say, let's move forward on getting this thing done. If they're not willing to do that, really whatever they come up with is just going to be a symbolic gesture, and we're going to be stuck exactly where we still are.
So let's make sure it's a think tank, not a Shark Tank. I just thought about that.
The U.S. has these think tanks. It'd be interesting to see what progress and what things they've been able to get out of the think tanks they have. But we haven't even got to that level. Like, let's at minimum lean into something complex. I've never been part of a think tank before, so I don't know how it works. I probably don't even have the expertise to be part of this think tank. So I'm not nominating myself at all. It needs to exist, and hey, from there we can now build on it and optimize it.
Okay, so Junior's saying we should be out there writing critical pieces until we are sitting at the table. Yes. Also, Chris was saying, how much traction do you think we gain away from receiving government funds to start our needed initiatives? Good question. I think,
That's a huge question,
yeah,
because now this is where the economic pillar I feel like is so important, because if we can't figure out how to generate our own funds, we're always going to be subservient to the person giving us money. So if the government is our only vehicle of getting funds to do what we need to do, two problems with that. One, they put you in a certain box that is mandated and you have to follow protocol. And two, if they change their mind, now anything that you were building falls apart. So yes, it's one of the revenue options, but it shouldn't be the only one. And it should only be used to then develop our own sustainability. When the economic pillar gets to that point, and this is where we're talking about helping companies IPO, helping developers build their own cities and getting them resources to be sustainable and businesses successful. And again, that's why the BBPA base program is so important, because yes, it started with government funding, and I think they got some funding from banks, but they're helping businesses get to the next stage in their company that allows them to grow and be sustainable and higher. The more of those companies that exist, the stronger the economic pillar will be. But this is where we have to get off dependence on the government. And then when we do that, so that's where I'm saying if that economic pillar is sustainable, it can now resource the other
everything.
pillars.
Yeah.
It can build the hospitals. It can build or at least fund the education system that we're thinking about. It can put together and fund a first response police unit. It can put together and fund a CAS first response social unit. Right now, we can't fund any of those things. So we can talk about all we want to build a hospital. That takes money. And so if the government isn't interested in helping the Black community build a hospital or helping the Black community create a school board, it's not going to get done. It can only get done through our own self-funding. And right now we're not there. So I'm hoping at least the puzzle piece that ACBN can play is getting the economics in our community up to a level that we can fund these priority infrastructure projects.
Okay, Tim is saying we need multiple Black think tanks.
Like I said, I don't even know how to build one. So once we get one, I feel like let's get the one and then we can have multiple.
Well,
But
I agree with Tim. I think we should have think tanks for different areas, not just one general one. Have think tanks for different areas. I think that
right.
makes sense. That you're Mr. Economics. I'm very passionate about media. Each one of those areas needs its own think tank, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have people walking the areas that they have no knowledge of. No. So you get the
Right.
people who have the evaluated experience and the results in these different areas, and you put them in different think tanks. Christopher is saying here, I think we have a lot of star power in the community. I think the issue is no one either wants to drive the car or persons don't want to join the car ride called community mission intended. I don't think it's money, it's intent. I don't think it's money, it's intended communication. To build on that, what you're saying there, Chris, I know a number of star power people that want nothing to do with Black organizations because they've been turned off by the way they've been either treated or the way that they've been run. And I think
Right.
that is those organizations' faults. That they've just. I speak with someone on a regular basis. She has incredible talent and all that, but she said, "You know what? No." And when she gets approached by other people, when she approaches other people, say, "Hey, you should maybe get involved." And they said, "No." They're just saying, "No." They don't want nothing to do with it. They've had too many unfortunate experiences. So
Yes.
Ryan's
I've
group,
heard that so many times
yeah.
too.
So Ryan's group, I think one of the things that they need to do is, if they've done wrong, apologize.
Yes.
I'm being
And
very
so
honest here. Be not
I'll be very frank.
apologize and say, hey, we've done some things
Yes.
wrong. You've got to earn that trust back. Because if you don't have
Absolutely.
it, you're because a lot of these star people that Christopher has mentioned are working for people who don't look like us, right?
Thank you.
So we need to
Super talented.
say, okay, we apologize and be sincere with it, and at least apologize. Whether they come back or not, that's a whole other story. But at least apologize, to at least give them the feeling, saying, okay, they care, they realize they did wrong, and I'll consider coming back. To just dash them doesn't is not good. And
Yeah,
Tim is saying here
absolutely.
there is a few that is being built right now in Canada that I'm part of. So you must be talking about think tanks. So there you go. And Christopher
Okay, that's
saying,
excellent.
right communication is the problem. Yeah, yeah. I think communication and right. My dad said to me when I was younger, he says, I don't care what you become, son, as long as you treat people with manners and respect. So I will
Mhm.
include that in the communication piece, treating people with manners and respect. To be honest, I don't care if people really like me. I just care that I'm treated with respect.
Very true. Yes.
Right. And it's interesting. There's a gentleman who just passed away, American senator named Bob Dole. Uh, and he
Okay,
said,
right.
yeah, he just passed away. And at one time he ran for American president. And I heard an interview from him of him a number of years ago. And the commentator asked him, what do you think about these political parties in the United States going after each other? He said, um, I said, when I ran in politics, and he was a Republican, and he said, yeah, well, when Democrats ran against me, we were opponents, but we weren't enemies.
Okay, so that respect
And,
factor
and I
is still
thought
there.
that was a very, very great answer. So I
Mm,
think what's happening in the Black environment, not the Black Sea, is that we've we have too many enemies internally with each other. I
mm,
think, and I'm saying not everyone's going to fully agree that, but there's some key people that have been put in enemy mindset that need to be, we have to say, okay, we made a mistake, and let's see if
mm.
that can be turned. Now, not everyone's going to turn around, but at least that acknowledgement of that you did wrong, and it's saying we did wrong. I think again goes back to my famous three: trauma, repetition, symbolism. The one of the first big piece is the big piece, the trauma aspect.
Well, and that's where, even if they can't get up to an apology, is to say we've been around for X amount of years and we have not produced what the community needs. Period. Like that,
Exactly, and
you
admit
can't debate that,
it. Yeah,
because out of those five things that I mentioned, not one of them exists right now. So anybody that's in those areas of dealing with education or dealing with health, we do not have our own school board and we do not have our own hospital. So if you're in that space, are you even thinking of these things? Like, is this even on your radar? So if it's not, then what are you working on? Like, what tangible, like permanent infrastructure things are you working on?
what is your legacy piece? What's your system? What are you working towards? Are you just working from day to day? And some of those
Yes.
organizations, I fully understand. You're working day to day, but the thing is, look at what the pandemic done to a lot of day to day organizations.
Well, and look who came out of the pandemic like in flying colors. Big, big business. Walmart, biggest revenues.
Amazon.
Amazon, biggest revenues. Even Best Buy, biggest revenues. And then they're letting go their people because
It was interesting. There was, and I saw it on the line this week. There was some mortgage company in the United States
Hmm,
where the CEO let go 800 people over a video call.
I heard that. Like a Zoom type call,
Yeah,
right? Oh my
800 people
goodness.
in one shot.
Oh, I think it
So
was Zillow.
it may be something that I'll do some research, and hopefully maybe we'll bring it up on Monday and maybe show the video. He let go
And
of 800 people in one shot. So that is really interesting. So Tim is saying, Tim the Insider, one is a judicial think tank and one is a product and service think tank. So those are happening. But here's again, if you didn't tell us, we would have no idea.
exactly.
And nothing
But
against you,
even this
Tim.
is where, because those are specific niche think tanks, and what I'm talking about is like an overarching think tank that talks about how does the black community operate, because right now the think tank in the judicial area is really excellent, but again it covers just one area of, let's say, the five. So beyond just the five areas, when we talk about mandate, there needs to be a think tank that can brainstorm and understand what does it take to move forward, what trends are happening, how do we optimize the way the world is going, that would trickle down that information to the different departments. So that think tank that's in the judicial system or just justice area now is getting intel from a think tank that's understanding, like, hey, this is how we have to mandate organizations that are happening because certain things are trend. This is the conversations that we should be having with government. We can't keep
Well,
just doing it like piece by
we we
piece.
we have to have these conversations with ourselves first
Mhm.
before we get to the government stage. That's my thought. Christopher saying the beauty of
Yes.
what's happening in the black environment. Thank you, Chris. Environment, space, and ecosystem. We are talking more, and I think change is coming big up to Dr. Vibe and Ryan for the work you both are doing. Well, it's not a work for, I appreciate the kind words. It's not work, it's a passion. If it was work, I'd lose the hair that I have on the rest of my body, which you're not going to see right now. Right. So that's how I lost this. Part of the reason why I lost this, because of I took it
Uh,
as work. I make sure that what I'm passionate about is aligned with who I am. So I appreciate the kind words. Uh yes, hashtag passion. Yes. Passion, purpose, and alignment. So,
mm,
folks, we are coming up to the end of today's conversation, and we love chopping it up on Fridays, especially Fridays seem to be really good. And love everyone who's tuning in live or on the replay. Much thanks. Much thanks. And even as far away as Scotland today. Yes,
love it. Love it.
Scotland. We making it to Scotland. And so, okay, let's do giveaway time. Let's give
Love it.
giveaway
Yes.
time. All right, let's do the You Gotta Get Away. That's Getaway, not Giveaway. That was old Bobby Brown song. All right. All right.
Drum roll.
Well, if you want to call it a roll. Yeah. All right. Here we go. All right. Let's make this happen. So here we go.
Oh,
Ha! The man from Scotland won.
I
Love it.
lied.
I love it.
Do they have Amazon in Scotland? I'm kidding.
I'm sure. And oh, the man from Scotland won.
That's awesome.
So Fraser Ramsey. I love it. He comes in from Scotland. Oh my gosh, that's
That's so
hilarious.
good.
So Fraser, if you
So
want
send
to,
the email.
yeah, I'm gonna put the email up here. So if Fraser, send your email address to info@acbncanada.com, and we will, and again, it's a global thing. You'll get it digitally. You'll get a gift card from Amazon. I love it. I love it.
That's
All
too
the way
good.
from that is hilarious. That's fantastic. Sorry, Charmaine, but it's so funny from Scotland. That's great. That's fantastic. Love it, love it, love it. And I know someone actually tried to get in at the last minute too. Well, someone did get on the last, tried to get on the last minute, but this is good, folks. So if anything, watch us to see if you can win $25. So if someone in Scotland can win it who came in for the first time, anyone can win it. So
So
that's
true. So
hilarious.
true.
Great conversation today, folks. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your positive productive schedule. Also say hello to Sophia Jacob in Ottawa. Opponents are not enemies. Powerful. That is a great perspective to have. Yeah, I really liked that quote by Senator Doyle. I'm gonna see if I'll see if I can do some research and see if I can get a video clip from him saying that. But I think that was a really good. Nothing wrong to have opponents, but it's not good to have enemies. I think in our environment, in the black environment, there's a lot of enemies. We're a lot of enemies within our environment. We need to shut that down.
Mm,
We need to
100%.
shut that down. So what's up for the weekend, Ryan?
The weekend.
Yeah,
Good
Saturday,
question.
Sunday.
I'm gonna be, home with the kids. I know at the Bramley City Center they're doing a couple Christmas stuff. The store Reveler Afrique, she I think is bringing the Grinch. So if you want to meet the Grinch, you can bring a
It's not.
donation.
It's not you, eh?
Listen, I couldn't get. I can't do the Grinch smile. Yeah, and I'm gonna go grab our chai lattes from Daniel's Chai Bar. If you haven't checked it out, such a sweet drink. I love it. Tea by Daniel created a new pop up style store at the Bramley City Center. I heard rumors that the rescue food truck should be coming back to the Bramley City Center. A lot of things are happening at and the Canadian Black owned marketplace is launching at the Bramley City Center as well. So they're going to be
I
there. I
would
think
love
until
to get
February.
that. I would love to get that lady on the.
Right? Was that Janice? I have to ask her. I asked her before, but she didn't get back to me. So I'll check in with her to see if she's available.
Here's an interesting question.
Mm.
Is there a Black Canadian who owns any of these big tall buildings in Canada? Big tall office spaces in Canada.
Office spaces, no. The closest I've seen is Isaac with the Yorkdale building, but that's office and then condos. So like a
I wonder.
full office
I'd
building.
really be interested to know who is the biggest Black Canadian commercial real estate owner in this country.
Interesting. Yeah.
And the reason why I say that, especially because Ray's in here, Ray of Macmillan Group. So if you're looking for anything help wise in the real estate game, definitely check them out. I'd like to, because land is a very important thing in the economy. In capitalism, land is very important. And people may or may not have had me say this before, but again, gentrification, you don't hear it as much anymore, but it's still going on, is all based on land.
Exactly.
There are areas of Toronto, the Little Jamaicas, the Regent Parks. Black people were basically pushed out because they didn't own the land. At least if you're getting pushed out and you own the land, you can tell how much, hey, if you want to push me out, this is how much you got to give me.
Exactly.
So land and ownership of land, like I am a firm believer now, if you want to get ahead in this economy, you're either going to do it one of three ways: owning
Mm.
land, entrepreneurship, or owning stocks.
Right, right.
Notice I didn't say employees there.
Exactly.
Now you can still do it that way, but that's even if you don't look like us, that's a hard way. But
Well,
definitely
typically, even if you're an employee, you need to invest. And then that's where it gets to your stocks or ownership of things.
right,
So,
exactly.
yeah, just
But
pulling a paycheck doesn't cut it.
well, especially when how much taxes that pulled out, and then of course there's
Mm.
that thing called inflation. Notice, folks,
Yes.
prices are going up, but your wages aren't going up if you're an employee.
Exactly. House prices, food prices, wages are staying
Well,
stagnant.
well, this is one of the things I always find interesting. When the price of gas go up, people don't realize how much of a domino effect that has.
Right. So
Right?
true.
So we all eat because if you don't eat, you're dead.
Yes.
How does the food get to that place where you're buying it?
Ah, ripple effect.
It has to be transported by trucks. What do the
Mm.
trucks run on? They don't run on water, they run on
Right.
gas. How does the food from different countries or even food from different areas of this country get to, in Toronto, we have something called the Ontario Food Terminal? Trucks
Mm-hmm.
or rail. Again, stuff
Yes.
from overseas, plane. All that is gas. So every
Yeah.
time it changes hands, the price is going to be pushed on to people like you and I, the consumers.
Exactly. And that's where, because it's incremental, you don't feel it until it gets unbearable.
Yeah, well, it's happening. So, like I said, just some thoughts. So, Mr. Ryan, thank you for being the media star you are as usual. Hope you and your wonderful family have an outstanding weekend. And
Much appreciated.
that's
And
it.
what are you up to this weekend, sir? Almost missed it.
It's somewhat quiet. I know I probably have to do a state of things tomorrow night. We may be running a repeat on Black Canada Talking on Sunday. I'm waiting for a guest to confirm, but if not, we'll run a repeat.
Mm,
And that there's some other things going on, but it's not winding down, just working on other opportunities. So there's some
excellent.
things I'm working on in regards to the morning vibe that we will hopefully have to announce either before the end of the year or in the new year. And oh, a week from Monday, we're going to have a gentleman who's a wellness specialist come
Okay,
in,
solid.
who actually has 4 physiotherapy clinics in the in Southern Ontario.
Right.
So he's going
That's
to be coming in and talking about wellness, and also we may even do some role play and have Ryan be someone who comes in and talks about what a pain he has, and they may do a role play. And but he I've spoke with him this week. He's really excited to come on, and he's incredible, and he's won some recent awards in
solid.
regards to his physiotherapy practice, and really excited to look forward to that. So let's see if we have any more comments. Oh, I love Ray. Or do all three. I like that. I love that.
Ah,
I love that.
exactly.
I love that.
Think
And
big, people.
Charmaine, have a great day, all. Sorry you didn't win today, Charmaine. I hope you're not upset at us. All right, and yes, or do all three, absolutely. And I'm sure
Mm,
that something tells me Ray's probably done at least 2 of those 3, or maybe all 3 of them. So Ryan's
true.
looking down at his phone, so we got to get going. Also, one last thing, make sure you follow us either on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube or Facebook, Ryan at his YouTube page, or also the ACBN Twitter or Facebook page. As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smarter to get stronger. Block assumptions. Then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher and wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourselves grace. God willing, we will see you Monday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, whether you're in Canada or in Scotland. God bless. Peace you all. Keep the faith and walk good.